Hello there. So I do see that this is kind of looking like I have an ultra setup when I just think the ambience and the atmosphere looks cool. So I wanted to play around with some fun lighting, and you know, it kind of fits with the whole aesthetic with today's video and today's topic. This shirt has anti-capitalist witch on it, and we're here for that today because that's how I feel. We're continuing with this whole motivational goal theme with today's topic, and that's this gigantic goal of doing a low buy year. I could not do a no buy year yet. This is me as a beginner trying to go into this, so we're gonna take this easy. And so I figured, let me lay out my rules and discuss why and how I'm doing this, and maybe it'll be some inspiration as well. I am a true beginner with this low buy year. However, I have been cutting back my spending over the years. When it comes to how I spend, most of the time it's on things that are investments, such as a computer, what I use for creating content, things for creating content, or treating myself once in a while to a trip here and there. I have stopped spending money on clothes for the most part. A couple of years ago, I was able to start researching about fast fashion, and that could delve into the rabbit hole of discussion. But basically, to keep things short, it's terrible. I don't support it. And so I automatically will try to thrift my clothes as much as possible or make them. And I have stopped shopping at 90% of the mainstream stores, I would say. There are a couple of stores that I'll still go to, such as Vans. I used to work there, so I am a little bit biased where I still like their clothes. I think that when it comes to corporations, they do a little bit better on this scale, but that's just my opinion. And then of course, I am part of the Disney cult, and I will continue to be part of the Disney cult. So unfortunately, I know that I do spend a lot of my money there, but I try not to spend a lot on clothing, and that's one of the major things. I decided, let me create a list and really try to focus on it. And meanwhile, it's the middle of January. I wanted to start this in the beginning of January, but I've learned that it's better to ease into it. So it's kind of something that I'm using as a guidance instead of this is a mandate for me to get used to it. Yes, it's going to be very important to stick to these rules, and I am planning on sticking to these rules, but I also don't want to fail, just like I said in the last video, where I don't want to fail during 1 week if I'm completely busy and running out of time and I need to stop and buy food at like a fast food place or restaurant, and then completely lose my motivation for everything. It's better to keep things easy and keep things low in order to succeed. That's how I feel about it. Jumping into the list, I broke this into categories to keep this very simple. And for me personally, because I do not know how to be an actual adult, I end up buying too much food out. And that is my biggest vice. Unfortunately, because of convenience purposes, my schedule sometimes can be all over the place. And so if I'm running around and I do not know how to prepare food, that's where I always end up sadly going to get fast food. Not because I crave it, but just because it's easy to grab. And that's why it's called fast food. That's how they get you. So we're working on getting rid of that. Fast food is allowed once a month, except for White Castle, because I'm a Jersey girl and I don't have a White Castle nearby. So anytime that I'm able to get it, maybe every couple of months, I'm gonna go grab it because I am shameless.
I want 30 sliders, 5 French fries, and 4 large cherry cokes.
I want the same, except make mine Diet Cokes.
Originally, I had written down that going out to eat / getting takeout would be allowed twice a month, but this is where I'm changing it to make things a little bit easier and just putting it as a few times a month. Because I know varying from month to month. You could have more events, you could have different birthday parties or birthday dinners to go to or special events, and I don't really want to miss that because that's a special occasion compared to just being more strict to yourself. So I feel like I have to be a little bit more lenient on that one. Then because I'm a basic witch, I am addicted to Starbucks. Sadly, I'm working on cutting that habit out because I would love to be able to make my own tea at home. I don't go for the coffee, I go for the tea. I am obsessed with tea, but I haven't been able to find the right chai tea latte, and that's why Starbucks has always been a treat. So I know it's a very simple rule and doesn't seem to be that strict about it, but I'm allowing myself Starbucks once a week. Hopefully I won't have to go, but at least that safety net is there to make things a little bit simpler, and then slowly start cutting back more and more until I can escape the Starbucks cult. This one's a little bit unique too, just because I have a lot of videos planned where I want to delve into different fashion. I want to be able to take a look at different brands and different shows in a sense and compare what the characters are wearing. So as a content creator, these rules have to be a little bit different for most people. No new clothing from anywhere, very simple. The only clothing that's allowed to be bought will be thrifted or made. Anything to be used for video creation or content or cosplay will be allowed. And of course there's exceptions to the rule, because I know that my winter boots are falling apart, for example. So I'm holding out, I'm trying not to buy another pair, but if I have to, that's gonna have to get bought. Like, that's a necessity at that point. So I put that in there just again as a safety net. For essential items, buying one backup is allowed when running low. I don't like to run out of things and then have to run out to the store right away. So I always like to have 2 on hand for things that I use all the time, like deodorant, or even like my setting spray. I always have a backup because I use that every single time I do makeup. It is an essential for me. So things like that obviously are easy, like toothpaste, things like that. Yeah, you need it. You're gonna have to buy it. I will not be buying any new makeup until everything is completely used up in that category. Not my choice, but I've been gifted a lot of different palettes, which are wonderful gifts, but I have way too much makeup and not enough time to use everything. So I do not need to buy anything for probably the next 5 years if I'm like thinking about it. And yes, I know you're not supposed to use certain makeup after like 6 months to 12 months, but like I want to use it up until it's completely gone because I don't want to waste anything. Finally, in this category, I do have one unique rule that I can stock up for very, very certain sales, aka I love Lush products. Lush doesn't do a sale except for the Boxing Day sale once a year, and I definitely need to stock up because a lot of times I'll buy their soap and any other things like shower gel, and it's the only time that I'm able to get it for half off for most of the time. And they're a little bit expensive, although great products. So that's my opportunity to kind of save a little bit of money for things that I'm going to use throughout the entire year. And I know that most people wouldn't advise that, but in this scenario, I think it's a really good deal. And I'm gonna be using the product anyway, so that's my random exception again to the rule in cosmetics. I haven't experienced as in travel category in here because I know it's very important, and that's honestly where I do put a lot of my money towards, but I'm happy spending my money towards things like that because you're enjoying memories and it's not things that are taking up a bunch of space. You're literally going and having an adventure. So concerts, theater, and conventions are allowed. I don't go to many. I only have 2 concerts planned this year so far, and I already got the tickets last year and the year before because they keep getting postponed. So I'm not putting any extra money out so far, but it's a great event and you want to support local artists. and you want to support fellow musicians. They're trying to make their money, so that's something that I always will be in support of and always will spend money on. Educational experience like zoos, aquariums, and museums are allowed. Again, it's something I don't do enough and I want to be able to do more of because you're learning, you're discovering things, and it makes things unique. So I'd much rather go and spend money learning about a museum and learning history instead of, you know, going to the mall and just spending money on random things. And again, it's something I don't do often, so I'm not putting money towards it anyways. So it's something that I may not even spend money on anyways, but it's nice to keep that out there if the opportunity comes up. Theme park passes are allowed, especially for Disney and Six Flags. It is my happy place for the most part, and obviously I love going to Six Flags for Fright Fest. So again, once you put the money out there, it's worth the investment for the season pass, and by the time that I go, and as many times as I go, it pays for itself. It really does. So I have a couple of subscriptions that I already use and are already budgeted for. I don't have too much, but of course Netflix, Spotify, even Premiere Pro I need for editing. Same thing with Photoshop. And then a couple of more streaming services I have for pleasure, like HBO Max to watch for the time being. But I already put a list down and I have all of the amount that I'm putting out there, and I'm honestly paying less than $100 for all my subscriptions for every month of the year. It's not too bad, so they're already good. I already have them budgeted and I'm not adding any more. Once again, anything used towards video content is allowed because I want to be able to produce high quality videos and go do unique things and be able to create unique content, so it's gonna have to be part of it. Essential items are allowed. That's common. Everyone needs it. I also have a couple of seasonal items for Halloween and Christmas are allowed. I love adding ornaments to my tree every year, and I do love my collection, so I don't go crazy. I always like to try to get things on sale in that aspect, so that I have on my list. Even though I know it's not a necessity, it brings me joy, and overall I'm really not spending more than $20 to $50 on the entire thing in a year. And then finally, birthday gifts are allowed. Birthdays are special. This one is a really big year for me, so I want to be able to enjoy my birthday month. That's the only other time I'm going to potentially splurge, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to do a small trip for the occasion, which I'm also putting money aside for and saving up. And then of course I have all the birthday rewards between the different restaurants to go to. So again, in that scenario, that is an exception because it's a very special occasion. Overall, I kind of understand that this list is very, very lenient, but it's also my first time doing it and I want to be able to succeed. So I wanted to keep it very, very simple that I can continue to keep on building towards every year, and then maybe making it tighter as the year goes on. And like I said, I really don't spend that much money on items anyways, so I'm kind of already doing it. My bad categories are food and more food. That's literally where I would say 60% of my money goes to, and everything else I'm pretty decent on. So that's my list, and I'll continue to see where we end up progressing at the end of the year. Otherwise, I have a lot of really fun stuff planned out once again, and I'm really excited for this year, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. I have no expectations because we're still in this situation here, but we'll see how it goes. And I know this is a huge goal that I'm doing, but if you guys are also doing a no by year or a low by year, what are some of your rules? I would love to hear it in the comments below. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one.